The situation around the Golden State Warriors somehow keeps finding new ways to feel heavier, and this latest stretch might be one of the most unsettling yet. Another night slips away, another opportunity wasted, and this time it comes against Phoenix, a team you absolutely cannot afford to hand momentum to in the Western Conference. The Warriors fall in a tight battle that ends 99-98, and it is the kind of loss that lingers because it was right there for the taking. A divisional opponent, a playoff race tightening by the day, and once again the margin between control and collapse feels painfully thin. Late in the game, everything unraveled in a way that Warriors fans have seen far too often this season. With seconds left, the outcome should have been decided by execution, by shot making, by defense, by poise. Instead, a whistle cuts through the moment, a foul call with barely any time left on the clock, and suddenly the ending feels ripped away rather than earned. Moments like that sting because they strip the game of its rhythm, and regardless of which side benefits, it leaves everyone feeling robbed of a true finish. For Golden State, it was yet another reminder that nothing comes easy right now, not even a fair shot at closing games. This loss pushes the Warriors further down the standings, now sitting in the 9th seed, and the weight of that reality is starting to show. Over their last 13 games, they have dropped 9, and the pattern is impossible to ignore. Strong starts followed by inconsistent rotations, late game confusion, and just enough mistakes to let opponents hang around. The frustration is no longer simmering quietly among fans. It is boiling over in ways that feel almost surreal. That brings us to the moment that has captured everyone's attention. A fan, fed up with watching this season spiral, decides to email the owner directly. Not a public statement, not a press conference, just a raw message of frustration sent into the void. Except this time, the void answer back. The owner responds, acknowledging the frustration, admitting the complexity of the situation, and making it clear that this is not lost on him. For a franchise of this stature, it is an astonishing glimpse behind the curtain. At first, many assumed it had to be fake. Owners do not usually engage like this, especially not during turbulent stretches. But it turns out the message was real, and that is what makes it so fascinating and unsettling at the same time. This is not a calculated public relations move. It reads like exhaustion, like someone who understands the stakes and feels the pressure from every angle. Style of play, coaching preferences, league trends, roster construction, all wrapped into a single admission that nothing is as simple as it looks from the outside. Naturally, this sparked reactions everywhere, including from inside the organization. The head coach quickly downplayed the situation, framing it as no big deal, emphasizing mutual support and alignment at the top. On the surface, that sounds reassuring. But when those words are followed by another gut-wrenching loss on the court, it becomes harder to sell the idea that everything is moving smoothly in the right direction. Winning cures doubt. Losing invites scrutiny, and right now the Warriors are losing too often. On the floor, there were still moments worth recognizing. One player in particular delivered a performance that stood out in a positive way. He looked composed, confident, and impactful in ways that do not always show up purely in the box score. His fourth-quarter stretch kept Golden State alive when things could have slipped away entirely. He made smart decisions, hit timely shots, and showed an awareness that has been missing at times earlier this season. It was the kind of night that reminds you growth is not always linear, and that patience can sometimes pay off. This was especially important given that Stephen Curry did not have one of his usual nights. When the engine sputters, someone else has to step up, and for stretches of this game, that is exactly what happened. It was not about forcing shots or trying to be the hero. It was about reading the game, moving the ball, and staying engaged on both ends of the floor. Those contributions matter, particularly on nights when the superstar rhythm is off. Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, brought the aggression and intensity that has become his calling card. He attacked mismatches, played through contact, and delivered a massive shot late that nearly swung the outcome. His stat line reflects efficiency and control, and his presence was felt throughout the game. Performances like this are exactly why he was brought in, and they highlight how thin the margin is between winning and losing when everything else around him feels unstable. Yet even with these bright spots, the underlying issues refuse to fade. The rotations continue to feel disjointed, with players coming in cold, being asked to spark immediate impact, and then disappearing just as quickly. Jonathan Kuminga's night is a perfect example. After spending multiple games glued to the bench, he gets a short window to prove himself, dropped into the start of quarters with little rhythm to build on. Predictably, it does not click, and the opportunity slips away. It raises a difficult question about development and confidence, because it is hard to thrive when the leash is that short. Meanwhile, another role player delivered exactly what you want from someone off the bench. He stepped in, knocked down shots immediately, brought energy, and played within the flow of the offense. In a matter of minutes, he changed the feel of the game. And just as quickly, he was pulled. Decisions like that are baffling when the team is desperate for momentum. It is not about favoritism or loyalty. It is about riding the hot hand, especially when the offense is struggling to find consistency. Draymond Green's night summed up the season in many ways. Defensive effort was there. Communication was there. But the turnovers piled up, and the offensive impact never truly materialized. When the primary facilitator struggles to protect the ball, it puts enormous strain on everyone else. Those extra possessions matter in a one-point game, and they add up fast. Looking at the bigger picture, this is what makes the current moment so confusing. On some nights, Curry shines and the team still falls short. On others, Butler carries the load, and it is not enough. And then there are inexplicable wins where neither star dominates. Yet everything clicks just enough to beat elite opponents. It leaves fans and analysts searching for answers that never fully arrive. The schedule ahead offers chances to recover, games that on paper look manageable. But nights like this are the ones that haunt you later, because they are the difference between climbing the standings and fighting for survival. Losing by 1 point to a direct competitor does not just hurt in the moment. It reshapes the path forward, adding pressure to every game that follows. And hovering over all of this is the image of an owner responding directly to fan frustration, a symbol of how intense and uncomfortable this season has become. It is not just about wins and losses anymore. It is about identity, direction, and whether this roster, as currently constructed, can find clarity before time runs out. As the night wore on, the deeper frustration came from how familiar everything felt. The Warriors have been living in these narrow margins all season, and instead of learning how to control them, they keep getting swallowed by them. One possession here, one turnover there, a rotation decision that feels a step late, and suddenly the game is gone. When you zoom out, it becomes clear why emotions are spilling over not just among fans, but seemingly inside the organization itself. Stephen Curry's line tells a story that Warriors fans are not used to seeing very often. 33 minutes, 15 points, inefficient shooting, and a rhythm that never quite arrived. Nights like this happen, even to the greatest shooters the game has ever seen, but the concern is what follows. In past seasons, a night like this could still end in a comfortable win because the system absorbed the off night. This roster does not have that luxury. When Curry struggles, everything feels fragile, and every missed opportunity is magnified. Draymond Green continues to be a paradox. Defensively, he remains sharp, reading passing lanes, contesting shots, and anchoring possessions with effort and communication. Offensively, the ball security issues are becoming impossible to ignore. 5 turnovers from the player tasked with organizing the offense is backbreaking in a 1-point loss. These are not just mistakes, they're momentum killers, the kind that flip games quietly while everyone is watching the scoreboard instead. The bench remains an unsolved puzzle. There are flashes of promise, moments where someone steps in and delivers exactly what the team needs, only for the rhythm to disappear minutes later. That inconsistency is not entirely on the players. It is hard to build confidence when minutes fluctuate wildly, when one mistake can send you back to the bench for the rest of the night. Development requires trust, and trust requires continuity, something the Warriors have struggled to establish. Jonathan Kuminga's situation continues to spark debate. He enters the game with energy, looking to attack, but the context rarely sets him up for success. Being dropped into short stints at the start of quarters, expected to instantly change the game, is a tough ask for any young player. When it does not work, the leash tightens even more. It becomes a cycle that is hard to break, and you can see in the body language, in the hesitation that creeps in where confidence should be. On the flip side, there are players who seem to understand their role perfectly when given the chance. Quick decisions, smart spacing, confident shooting. When those contributions are cut short, it leaves everyone wondering what the plan actually is. Is the goal to develop chemistry, or is it to constantly search for the perfect combination? Right now, it feels like the latter, and that approach often leads to confusion rather than clarity. Jimmy Butler continues to be the stabilizing force. His ability to manufacture offense when things bog down is invaluable. He attacks with purpose, gets to his spots, and delivers in pressure moments. His 31 points are not empty. They were hard-earned, efficient, and timely. In a different context, that performance is enough to secure a win. Here, it becomes another reminder of how thin the margin truly is. The absence of certain rotation players only added to the sense of imbalance. With limited options available, roles should have been clearer, responsibilities more defined. Instead, the minutes still felt scattered, as if the team was searching for answers on the fly. That lack of structure shows up late in games, when execution matters most and instincts take over. What makes this season so mentally exhausting is the inconsistency from night to night. One game suggests progress, the next wipes it away. There is no steady trend to cling to, no clear sign that things are turning a corner. Even wins can feel strange, arriving in ways that defy logic and leave more questions than confidence. Losses like this one, though, strip everything down to the raw reality. The Western Conference does not wait for anyone to figure things out. Every loss shifts the landscape, tightening the gap between stability and desperation. Dropping to the 9th seed is not just a number. It changes matchups, it changes urgency, and it changes how every remaining game is approached. Suddenly, there is no margin for patience. That is why the owner's response struck such a nerve. It was not controversial because it was dramatic, but because it felt honest. An admission that this is complicated, that there is no simple fix, that frustration exists at every level. For fans, it was validating. For the team, it is another layer of pressure, whether acknowledged publicly or not. The head coach's attempt to calm the situation is understandable. Stability matters, especially when noise gets loud. But calm words only go so far when the product on the court continues to wobble. At some point, alignment has to translate into results, and right now the results are inconsistent at best. Looking ahead, the schedule offers opportunities, but also traps. Games that appear winnable carry extra weight because of nights like this. Lose the ones you should win, and suddenly the path forward becomes unforgiving. The Warriors still have the talent to make noise, but talent alone is no longer enough. Execution, clarity, and commitment to a defined rotation are becoming necessities, not luxuries. The strangest part is that belief has not completely disappeared. Even amid the frustration, there is a sense that this team could still figure it out. That is what makes the losses hurt more. The potential is visible, close enough to touch, yet just out of reach. Every missed shot, every turnover, every questionable substitution feels like another step away from something that could have been. As the season grinds on, the questions will only get louder. About roles, about trust, about whether this version of the Warriors can find cohesion before the window narrows further. Nights like this do not just count in the standings, they linger in the psyche, shaping how the next game is played, how the next decision is made, and how much patience remains inside an organization that is not used to feeling this uncertain. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. In what could be the biggest shakeup of the NBA landscape in recent years, A source close to the league has reportedly leaked that the Golden State Warriors have emerged victorious in the highly contested pursuit of Anthony Davis. If true, this would mark one of the boldest moves in franchise history, sending shockwaves through the league and leaving rival teams scrambling to adjust their strategies. According to insiders, the Warriors' front office has been working behind the scenes for months, quietly assembling a package that finally convinced Davis to consider Golden State as his next home. The details remain murky, but speculation suggests a combination of draft picks, young talent, and perhaps a surprising player swap may have tipped the scales. What is clear is that the Warriors' relentless pursuit of top-tier talent shows no signs of slowing, even after their recent championship successes. The reaction across the league has been immediate and intense. Sources close to competing franchises describe a mix of disbelief and panic as teams that had hoped to land Davis now face a new reality. Golden State is seemingly stronger than ever. Conversations around the league indicate that front offices are evaluating potential countermeasures, though few have concrete plans at this stage. Analysts suggest that this move, if it comes to fruition, could redefine the balance of power in the Western Conference, potentially altering the dynamics for years to come. Fans, of course, are already speculating wildly. Social media platforms are ablaze with theories about how Davis will fit alongside the Warriors' existing core. Some wonder whether his arrival will shift the team's offensive identity, while others debate the implications for Draymond Green and the backcourt duo that has been central to Golden State's recent dominance. The combination of Davis's versatility and the Warriors' signature style of play could create a team that is not only formidable in the present, but also terrifying for any future contenders. While no official confirmation has been released, the mere rumor of Davis heading to the Bay Area has reignited discussions about the Warriors' long-term strategy. Are they assembling a super team that rivals the legacies of past dynasties, or is this an overreach that could backfire? For now, speculation reigns supreme, and every move, trade whisper, or front office statement is being scrutinized for clues. One thing is certain. If Anthony Davis really does land in Golden State, the NBA offseason just became far more dramatic than anyone anticipated. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.